What is going on? I'm Zedmot, also known as Toms if you write it backwards. Now, what we are going to be doing today is some low-level Mega Crab, and this is the lowest level that I have. Now, you can get the Mega Crab at, I believe it's HQ7 and higher. Do check out the description down below for some details on some helpful tips that I wrote a few years ago. Nothing's really changed. What you need to know is, number one, there's all sorts of stuff to spend your loot on. Now, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go in here, I'm going to get my free trader crate. I do not recommend opening up any other trader crates right now because you're going to be just chock full of resources. You don't want to waste those trader crates. Leave them for next week. Otherwise, I'm going to throw code ZEDMOD into this creator boost. It's going to make my Mega Crab hits 20% more effective. Then I'm going to pause and we're going to throw some instant training on this account so that we can do some serious damage. For those of you who are wondering why the prices are not what you're used to, just different currencies. I am way up in the north of Canada. I'm actually just in Canada. The Great White North is what I was trying to say. So that is why my prices might be different from yours. Also, there's all sorts of time zones. You might be way far ahead of me, but that doesn't matter on the Mega Crab because the Mega Crab is the same time for everyone, sort of sadly. It starts at 1 a.m. my time. So anyways, couple other quick notes. Don't forget to do your operation attack. Don't forget to do imitation game. Don't attack any actual player bases, though. Make sure you go through, scout them. If they've got good loot, keep them. If they don't, click that Find New Opponent button. You will not regret it. As you see here, I have level 71s, and I'm only level 40. How that is the case is because I haven't cleared this map in a long time. That person, well, I wish I could go back in time and see what level they were. You guys can let me know in the comments, though. If we scout this person, they were a 42. They are now a 45, so anyways, what we are going to do right now is we're going to load some troops up. For the low levels, you have to be aware that this is different than normal. So I'm going to load Grenadiers. You can also use tanks. You can also use heavy Zuka. You just need to be aware that your troops are going to die in different ways than normal. So Grenadiers for me are perfect because we're probably not going to lose all that many of them. But because we've got instant training, I'll also show you a couple other simple troops. Now, if you're lower level, don't fret. We will be doing some simple things here that will help you. So Stage 1, for example, was actually asked about on the Boom Beach official Discord today. Don't go rushing in because the cryo bombs will melt your troops' faces. Pop the cryo bomb, wait a second. Once everything's frozen, then pop that critter container, and then you don't really have to do anything. At this point, the critters should do all the work for you. You can throw a shock out there or something like that. Maybe clear some mines for those critters to get close to the headquarters. And then at this point, you don't have to deploy any troops. That is the biggest lesson that I get low-level people to understand, is that you don't have to drop troops right away. Use some gunboat energy, see what happens, and use some of that gunboat energy you get back to keep your critters alive. I did a terrible job of that this time, but you don't need any troops for like the first 5 stages or so, generally speaking. I can't speak for this Mega Crab, but the fact that I'm using Grenadiers, not super awesome for the Life Leech, but I can only do so many things. Grenadiers stay alive on their very own, so generally don't need Life Leech on Grenadiers, but nonetheless, we're going to get rid of some cannons. We are going to throw some barrages over here. Use your GBE before you open the critter containers. That is job lesson number 1. Hopefully this is all refresher for all of you and you're all saying you're stupid, you don't need this information. So we will jump ahead very quickly. There's only a couple small details that I want to make sure that everyone is well aware of. See, don't need to use any troops. Those critters hopefully are not going to pop all those mines, and those mines are low enough level that those critters can do it all on their own without any need for high level artillery or a barrage. But I do recommend upgrading your artillery and barrage. Now, we are going to attempt to do about an hour's video. I don't tend to do long videos. I would love to do a live stream right now, but I just don't have the availability. My kids just finished school. My wife is a teacher. She is at school cleaning things up. I am still at work. There is all sorts of stuff going on in my life. I'm probably going to have to pause this video. Might try to do a sneaky pause and without even telling you, and that's the beautiful thing about recording a video versus doing a live stream. I would love nothing more than to do a live stream, but I just don't think it's in the cards for this Mega Crab. Do consider subscribing though. That way, if I do go live, you will be the absolute first to know about it. If YouTube notifications work, which sometimes they don't. Anyways, I said we can go all the way to stage 5 without using troops. They got rid of the critter containers on this one. So generally speaking, there are critter containers hidden away somewhere. Not the case on this one. And if you're wondering why the heck I'm using Kavan, because free troops are fantastic. And those free riflemen are going to have Life Leech. So even though we have Grenadiers, look at this. Watch our lovely riflemen heal themselves. Now, one thing to note with Life Leech, the more damage they do, the more healing they get. So you definitely want all sorts of red statues. This is basically the red statue Mega Crab, where everything is about red statues. So what you want is lots of health, lots of damage. Gunboat energy is not terribly important, but it doesn't hurt to have some so that you can do some fancy maneuvers with your troops. And the other thing about using Grenadiers with the pink zombie rifles is that the rifles are going to help because the Grenadiers are going to miss. And so, look at that. The rifles actually switched back and lost their pink zombiness. But anyways, we are already on to stage 4. Now, I'm going to switch off Grenadiers in a second because some of you out there are saying, but Zed, I don't have Grenadiers, and that's totally fine. I think you get Grenadiers at XP 35 or so. If you are lower, don't worry. After this battle, we will come back with some goodness. Now, I think I said this already, but I can't stress it enough. Be careful of cryo bombs. Cryo bombs will kill all of your troops at a low level. Like, they will just murder them, and you will be incredibly sad. And one other thing to note is that cryo bombs do explode after the core. So once our troops get well enough away from that, I'm going to blow up this cryo bomb. Otherwise, it's going to kill all of our troops, and we're going to be super duper sad, especially if you're using troops like riflemen or Zookas. Instant death, instant carnage, not super awesome. But you see how we're bringing our troops in to follow those critters? Let the critters die, let your troops live, and everyone will live happily ever after. It's summer here. It is gorgeous blue sky. I think it's like 30 degrees or something like that. So 30 degrees Celsius. Again, currencies and Fahrenheits and all sorts of stuff always get raised. We are going to switch to some heavies and some Zookas. Something like this. Now, I'm going to be sticking with Kavan this entire thing. Brick is usually a good choice. Same thing with Everspark. Everspark dropping lots and lots of critters, but of course low levels don't have Everspark. You likely have Kavan, and if you don't, you can also use Brick. Brick's probably best choices are going to be Iron Will to keep some of your troops from dying, and or Cluster Grenade. Cluster Grenade, like for operation attacks and PvP and stuff, it's all about battle orders. Sorry, brain shutting down there for a second. But for stuff like this, you just want to keep your troops alive. You don't need extra speed because you're not smoking anywhere. And then we're just going to drop our heavies. And our heavies probably not going to die because they're going to do their own life leeching. They're just going to stay right out front. Magic sauce. So every single player out there who can do the Mega Crab has heavies and Zookas. Don't need to worry about this at all. All we need to be concerned about, of course, is single shot stuff with a little bit more damage, such as that cannon right there and boom cannons as we get a little bit further in. I'm going to try the cluster grenade out simply because we're trying to get her shooting. Look at that. The cannon's doing all sorts of damage to our heavies, but as soon as they get in range of something else, they're going to start healing themselves. Health is going to start coming back ever so slowly. Just again, need to be a little bit wary of those two cannons side by side, because that right there is how you're going to lose a couple troops. And we do have instant training, but we really don't want to lose troops just for the sake of it. And down goes stage 5, easy peasy, no troops lost. Keep those heavies out front. And also, just a reminder, warriors already do life leech. So they're not the best troops for Mega Crab. Throw some heavies out. Now, I've got 2 boats of heavies. Probably want to go more like 3 boats of heavies if you're not super confident with them, because all that's going to mean is the heavies are going to make sure they clear all of the mines. But look at this, cryo bombs also clearing all of the mines. So again, see the critters over there? They're going to be keeping all of those cannons super, super busy, so we don't even need to pay attention to them as long as we've got a few critters out front. Heavies doing some work, critters doing some work, all sorts of good stuff on the Mega Crab. And like I said before, do make sure you go attack your imitation game, because that is free powder, that is free resources, and even if you have all the resources you could need, you don't have all the power stones you could ever need. Always want better statues, better trophies. I'm trying not to mix up those 2 words. It was doing fairly well until right there. Instant training with the Life Leech. This one is one of those ones where Boom Beach doesn't make, like, typically with Mega Crab, people are like, oh, I want instant training so I can get farther. With this one, I personally think you should scrounge under your cushions and get the extra builder if you're a low level, because it's going to get you up higher and having more fun sooner. But really, you don't need to spend a dime to play Boom Beach, and that is why Boom Beach has always been tops in my book, because it is not the pay-to-win that many of the other Supercell games get accused of. This game, no need to spend money if you don't want to. It just lets you upgrade a little bit faster and attack a little bit more often. But you also need to watch your victory points, because once you get into the, I think it's like 485, I believe it is. I totally am gapping on that, but I believe it's about 485. Once you start to get into that number, you're going to start to get into the deep end, and like I had there, you're going to start to see max level players, and you don't want to be going level 40 versus level 71, and unless you do. I personally love playing video games on the hardest possible mode. Not everyone does, though. So pick your poison. Just know that if you're going to attack a lot of people, things are going to get, all of a sudden, you're playing in a whole different game once you hit 485 victory points, I believe it is. I will, if I'm wrong on that, I will update the comments down below. I think it's 485, but it's been a while for me and my brain is not doing well in this heat. I know some of you are going to say that's not heat, but we're used to cold. It goes from like raining to ridiculously hot, and with no in-between, no warm-up. I think Sonreal once said a song something along those lines, but without dwelling on the music, let's drop some troops. We will keep going. Our storages are going to be ridiculously full. One other question that was asked is, what order should I upgrade the tribes? If you have more resources than you could ever use, the tribes are a fantastic, fantastic way to spend some loot. Do consider upgrading your tribes. Start with the red, I can't remember exactly what it's called off the top of my head, and then go into the yellow, and then after that, worry about other things slightly later on. Get the offensive tribes first, get the other ones later. Really, honestly, all you need is the offensive ones. I can't even show the tribes because this account does not have the tribes. You don't necessarily have to use smoke to do the Mega Crab. I just like to sneak a smoke attack in once in a while as we got our Zookas down to absolutely 0 health. I'd be curious to see how much health. I wish you could like somehow see how much health was left, but lost our first troop. Now look at these rewards. Like, these just start getting better and better and better. So we got 1 intel. Great, make sure you're in a task force. If not, do make sure you join a task force. That's 29 free diamonds every day. No intel, second intel on stage 6. Stage 7, throwing out some intel. Stage 8, intel and powder. That powder is worth its weight in gold, for lack of a... That's not a good analogy on the booming of the beaches, but you get the basic idea. This is it, folks. On the Mega Crab with the Life Leech, you really, really don't have to be overly cautious. Look at our heavies. They're getting hit right in the face by all of those flamethrowers, all of those machine guns. Once their health starts to get a bit low, throw a shock out there. Bob is your uncle. And just like that, our critters are going to come out, keep some of our troops alive, and keep those cannons distracted. So much good stuff. I don't know if we can do an hour of this. We are just cruising through all of these stages. But just be aware it's going to get tough. But even as a super low level, if you have the time, if you have instant training probably required simply due to the amount of losses you will get if you don't have instant training and the amount of time required to wait for troops to load, you can get high. You can get the next tier. Don't just settle for the stone trophy. Go get the iron trophy. It's only stage 20. You can do that, no problem. Anyone who is on here watching this stream can get the iron trophy if you have the time and the inclination to do so. I'm not blowing smoke. That is a fact. You can do it. We're about to lose some troops because we don't have enough gunboat energy. You know what we can do? We can throw a smoke over there just to try to keep our troops alive. Get those cannons to switch to the healthy heavies. But as you saw there, one shot, heavy's dead. So we're going to lose some troops there for sure. One heavy, one Zuka. We've already got the stone trophy just like that. One thing to note, I do not have troop health, so my heavies are going to start dying very, very quickly here. Heavy Zuka, probably not the best troop combo for you if you don't have some troop health. So ditch those green statues, ditch those blue statues. It is way, way, way more fun to attack, my personal thoughts. And then just cruise on in. I just missed my artillery. You don't want to do that at all. Holy crow. And if you're wondering why I have no face cam today, it is for very good reasons. I do not have air conditioning. It is smoking hot right now, so you do not want scantily clad Zedmot coming across your airwaves. That is a good way to get my channel shot down for terribleness. So we are going to avoid doing that. There's going to be someone in the comments with something ridiculously funny to say about that, but we are minimally filtered here on the Anon Moose YouTube channel, keeping things family friendly, but just barely is my go-to stance on things. Then we're going to come right over into here because look how many critters we're going to have working for us in about a couple seconds here, I would say. We're going to go something like this. Don't need to be perfect with the smokes because mortars and or cannons don't really care all that much. Then we're going to throw a shock right there, shocking all of the mortars all of the mortars except for one. Oh, that was close. Anyways, just moving our shocks along as our critters are getting us all sorts of more gunboat energy, and we should just be able to cruise out of here. Probably did not need any sort of heavy presence for this attack. Generally against single shot defenses, it's better to have all sorts of Zukas rather than having all sorts of heavies, but it doesn't hurt to have a couple heavies so they can clear some mines for us. Then we can come over into here, throw a couple artillery out on that machine gun, and then we should have this entire base down just like this. Fairly straightforward. Mixing in some smoke here and there, trying to get in a spot where we can get all of those critters out in front of us, doing all sorts of good damage. We are now at 18 minutes into the video. Not bad. We're at averaging about 2 minutes a stage, something like that, plus all that rambling stuff from me at the outset. We are going to keep cruising through this. Probably don't really want Brick and her cluster grenade at this point, so what I'm going to do, we are going to switch back to we're going to use the Fede loadout. Fede, if you're wondering, was a player who was in our task force group, was in and around Reddit, was a fantastic player, one of those amazing female boomers, and she absolutely loved Grenadier, so that is why I have the Grenadier name, the Fede name. She's also Spanish from somewhere down south. I want to say Argentina, perhaps? Spanish speaking, not Spanish. Yeah, you get what I'm saying. Anyways, watch this. Rocket launcher gonna hit all of our Grenadiers eventually, but I don't think it's gonna do all that much damage. We're not getting the Life Leech from the Grenadiers. I don't think we are anyways. I'm fairly certain you don't get Life Leech from Grenadiers. Again, I could be wrong. Do check the comments below if you're not sure and you want to double check. But we've also got our first instance of some boom cannons. That's going to be a bit of a change for us for sure, because boom cannons and Grenadiers, not a super great mix. Also, sniper towers, and grenadiers. Bombardiers, fantastic. They outrange basically everything except for boom cannons. But grenadiers like to go into range of sniper towers and mortars. So we're going to see right now, right there, getting about half of the health per every single shot. But Kavan is doing his best to get us all sorts of healing here. Now we just need to be very, very, very wary of all of the boom cannons ranges, because if we're not, we're going to get absolutely melted. Look how much GBE we have, though. 107 GBE, and I need to do a better job of clearing some mines and using some gunboat energy. So we are going to get that last cryo bomb popped. We're going to get some shocks out right in there. Don't care if our pink zombie dudes die. That's what they're there for. And then we're just going to clear through all of this stuff just like this. Kavan standing at the front lines, one of the most forward heroes, except for Bullet, of course, and these dudes just powering through everything. We've lost a total of 0 grenadiers at this point and 0 medics at this point. Life Leech doing all sorts of good stuff. Remember how I said we lost 0? Oh, I thought for sure that boom cannon was going to turn towards our grenadiers. One thing to note, in case you haven't picked it up quite yet, all of our grenadiers are killing all of our, what are those things called? Critters. Sorry, brain. It is hot, hot, hot. There's a Good Morning Vietnam joke in here somewhere, but I have not watched that movie in a long, long time, so I'm just going to avoid all aspects of butchering jokes. Down goes that sniper tower just like that. Gonna throw, uh-oh, we're gonna lose some medics right here. Cannons shooting, uh-oh. We're in trouble now. We've lost not only our medics, but also Kavan, so we're going to back the heck away. Grenadiers don't go into range of flamethrowers except for in extremely rare circumstances like right now when they're about to bunch forward. We're going to throw a smoke just there, just in case. Okay, worked out fairly well. If your grenadiers start bunching up towards a cannon or towards a flamethrower, just throw a smoke out front and you will get some goodness out of that. Keeping your troops alive, always a good time. I am not going to use grenadiers much longer simply because they are slow. So for you attacking Mega Crab, do use grenadiers. They're fantastic. You will lose very, very few troops, but as a video to watch, this is going to be way, way too slow, and I have no way of speeding up my attacks at this point. So we're just going to have to watch all of these grenadiers miss and miss and miss, and I'm going to try and do some damage on the core using smoke, but spoiler alert, that does absolutely nothing. Come on, come on. Like, it just, look at this. That's 2 throws, 3 throws, and you see that we only had 17 seconds left on the clock. That is why using grenadiers, you have to be super duper aware of the time, because there's nothing worse than failing because of time. We are going to go back something like this with Mr. Kavan. Kavan bringing troops back like a boss. We are going to use 3 boats of heavies simply because they're going to clear more mines for us. I should be scouting. One other quick note. Tanks are always... you know what? Let's check our level of things. Our tanks are level 4. You know what? Let's try some level 4 tanks just to see how these things are going to do. Spoiler alert, they're probably going to do fairly fantastic. Now, one thing to note, using medics, not super useful on Life Leech Mega Crab. You're likely going to be better off having all tanks. The tanks can heal themselves. Kavan will come in, keep them nice and healthy at the same time. So all tanks likely going to be your best troop loadout if you have a decent level of tanks, and possibly if you have some form of troop health, because we can just go blah, just dropping 7 boats of tanks just like that, and we'll just do nothing. We'll just keep throwing shocks out, and I'm going to do nothing but shock the cannons from time to time, and we should just be able to cruise up to the core, no problem. You know what, let's just see what happens if that cannon shoots our tank. It can't even get a shot off yet because of that cryo bomb. But watch this. Cannon versus tank. What do we got happening here? There we go. So it definitely doing some damage. But because we've got a bunch of tanks, what happens is other tanks move into the blind spot. So the cannon goes from targeting your damaged tank. The other ones move, and then before it can reshoot, you end up saving your tank by some other tank coming into range. So Use smoke to keep your tanks alive, use shocks to keep your tanks alive, but overall, just get close to that core. Then you're going to pump all sorts of rifles out front, and then our rifles are going to help speed up the process, keep our tanks alive, and just burn through all of the things just like this. I think we're going to lose 0 troops. I would bet we'll lose 0 troops. Kavan himself might die. Not overly concerned about Mr. Kavan, though, because that's what he's there for. He is there to get murdered. Look at that. Kavan is dead. Look at that. Tank's about to die. We'll throw a smoke on top of it. That way it can stay alive, and we lost a total of 0 troops. So I said Grenadiers were slow. Tanks always get a bad rap for being slow, but look at that timer. 2 minutes, 39 seconds. Getting to that core decently quick. That was a fairly easy stage, to be honest. But stage 12, stage 13, look at this. We got boom cannons. We got boom cannons. We're going to have to be a little bit more careful, but we can probably ignore that rocket launcher over there. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to drop my tanks right here. That way I don't have to use GBE to get that critter vat out. Then I'm going to pop this, and we're going to throw a barrage right about there. Shocking only the single shot things that are going to kill all of our troops very, very quickly. Might as well throw a barrage right about there because we're going to get all sorts of gunboat energy back from the surrounding buildings. And then we're going to go one more artillery right there. All of the boom cannons that are in range are going to be gonzo, and we can just cruise up to the core at this point. Now, you need to be a little bit aware of the shield strength. I am terrible at scouting. I just count on my statues and my troops to get me through things. You should probably check the health of the shield before you start doing silly things like I am, because what's going to happen is you're going to get to the core and you're going to be sitting there watching, and you're going to lose because you can't burn through shields as things get a little bit more difficult. On this stage, should be able to burn through that shield, but you may need to start saving some gunboat energy to throw on those shields that are way, way out to the way side. But I think we should be able to get this puppy down. Look at that, we lost a tank. We now have the pink zombie tanks. So what we are going to do is we are going to get those riflemen out front. That's going to help distract the cannons for a couple seconds. And then hopefully, before we've lost too many of our tanks, we can get the rest of those cannons down. And now we should be golden here. Now, that shield, like I said, it's moving though, so we should be okay, but I would really, really like to know just how much health that shield has right about now, because we have no idea. We've got 2 minutes and 20 seconds, so you can probably burn through basically any shield at the low levels with your low level tanks, but it would be a lot more comforting if I had any idea how much health was on that shield, or even how much damage per second our tanks did. Those are the kind of details you should probably know, but I have no idea. I have a bunch of accounts at a bunch of different levels, and I couldn't tell you how much damage per second tanks do, but thankfully that rocket launcher doing all sorts of damage, and our tanks, see those health bars? They are gonzo, because Life Leech just makes everything easier, and I assume someone's going to get to like stage 300 or something absolutely, absolutely ridiculous. Now, I talk a lot. One other thing about Kavan is he doesn't do any damage, so he's not going to heal himself. If you have Bullet, by all means use Bullet. Bullet is going to be an absolute beast to this Mega Crab. Probably want to use Taunt, simply because you don't need his energy drink, because he already has a source of healing. And then he can keep all sorts of troops alive. We've lost a lot of tanks. I am not good with tanks. I am not paying enough attention with my tanks, but nonetheless, we still should be able to take down stage 13 after all sorts of time gets elapsed here. Really, really would like some gunboat energy so we could do anything at this point. One other note, if you are in an absolute rush, right about now you could force close the game. You're not going to get any more gunboat energy. There is nothing we can do, so just force close the game. But you do want to make sure you get the gunboat energy that comes from the shields before you do that, because it really sucks to get free GBE from the shields that you could use an artillery on, and then lose the stage by like 2,000 health or something ridiculous like that. Stage 13, down in flames. We are cruising through the levels. We have not needed instant training up until now, but at this point, losing 5 tanks, let's just... sadly, we can't even see how long it would take. Let's have a look here. So 2 tanks would be required. Let's just see how much time tanks need to load right about there. So that's be 48 minutes of waiting, and that's where instant training just makes life far, far easier. And one other note, I've got this screen right about here. So stages 10 to 19, we have 50% life leech, all the way up to stage 59 where we have 200%. Not on this graphic. From stage 60 and beyond, 250% life leech. That is a lot. So the farther you get, the easier it is for your troops to stay alive. But of course, defenses get leveled up as well. So do consider throwing out all sorts of red statues. You will not regret doing it. Now we are going to go on the left side. And if you're wondering why we're going up the left side, it's because there are a couple cannons on that right side, and we want nothing to do with those cannons. Sniper towers do some damage, but not enough to really be worried. So what we're going to do here is we are going to throw all of our gunboat energy towards that cannon right there. Now, I know you're thinking you could shock it, but for me, I just want to get rid of it. That way I don't even have to think about it, because what's going to happen is I'm going to forget about it, I'm going to forget that I need to shock it, and then I'm going to be sad when it destroys one of my tanks. So if you have a decent level artillery and barrage, just get rid of it while it's at the front of your mind. Same thing with operation attacks. Before you drop troops, use that GBE. Highly recommended. Now, on the Mega Crab, you want to drop your tanks first because it really sucks to have no gunboat energy left to drop tanks. But generally speaking, once you drop your troops, then get some GBE pumping out and you're not going to regret a single thing. Getting rid of these cannons, machine guns, why am I shocking them? Why the heck not? Then we're going to move over into here, getting rid of that machine gun. Did it matter? Not really. We're going to lose, I hope, 0 troops on this stage, except for all of the pink zombies that are going to run directly into that machine gun's range. Maybe. Our tanks might be able to cover for them quickly, just like that. Now, the pink zombie rifles that are going to come back are based on the level of rifles you have in your armory. So upgrading your rifles, not a bad idea whatsoever. Stage 14 down. We are now at 31.5 minutes, cruising through these stages. We have not failed yet. And one other thing to note, I am not boosted. For the low levels, you probably don't want to boost because you're going to get so many resources, and then you're going to take a break and come back in 8 hours after an upgrade is finished or something like that. So it's a weird balance. If you're just trying to get the trophies, yes, boost every single statue you have and go get it. But if you're just trying to get loot, because look how much loot we have. Gold, like just everything is full. We've got a bunch of diamonds as well. Also, we have some powder. I wonder how much powder I have on this account. Let's have a quick peek in here. 27. Not a ton, but if I was going strictly for trophies, I would have boosted every single statue, except for my Power Stone chance. Don't boost Power Stone chance. You're only going to get a couple frags left back, and it's just not worth it. If you're going to boost your Power Stone chance statue, make sure you do it before you attack the imitation game. That way maybe you get an extra red statue. Going to help you with your trophies for the Mega Crab. Maybe. Now before you drop your troop, let's just see how much health is on that. 1.2 million. I have no idea how much damage our troops are going to do, so I'm just going to go like this. We're going to clear all sorts of these cryo bombs using our troops. That's going to save us some gunboat energy, hopefully, as long as our troops don't die. Just like that, the cryo bombs start spontaneously combusting, or whatever the heck the term that I'm looking for. And we are going to head off to this left-hand side. I'm going to get rid of these ridiculously high value targets on the left-hand side. Getting rid of a boom cannon and a shock launcher just makes perfect sense. And then we're going to throw a smoke right about there, get all of our troops into that back corner eventually, slowly but surely, trying darn hard to get all of our troops past that flamethrower right there without dying. And then we'll throw a shock right there just because. Need to keep trying to keep Kavan alive as best as we possibly can. At this point, we are hoping that we can get through all sorts of this shield. Why I'm throwing this barrage out here is because I'm going to get that was a bit of a slur there. We're going to get as many pink zombie crews as we can out, hoping that they can help us burn that shield, because I don't know if we can do it without their help. Now, next up, nothing. I think we're just going to, we can go like this. We're going to pop these critters back here, hoping that some of those critters go and get their rocket launcher, get us a little bit more gunboat energy at the same time. That shield not moving super duper quickly. Would really, really like at least 4 more gunboat energy so I could bring out some more pink zombie crew. Pink zombies holding on by the skin of their teeth. Look at that. They are healing themselves. That mortar is hitting them. It is a race against death, for lack of a better way to put it. We are at that point where we probably should just force close. Where you know what? We just got some GBE though, just like that. Ah, the rocket launcher is dead. So we are a couple GBE. Kavon's dead anyways, so it doesn't really matter. But now I just need to figure out where the heck to put this GBE at. So realistically, probably should throw it right there at the corner of the mortar and the core. And I'm gonna pause right here and we'll come back and see how much damage our tanks and rifles have done. I don't think it's going to be enough. If we watch that shield right there, it's not moving terribly, terribly quickly. So probably wasn't the best choice using tanks for this one. Using Heavy Zuka might have been better, just by the fact that those riflemen are staying alive. But we had to give it a shot. We had to fail at some point. I'm going to pause. We will come back, and hopefully this will go down. Coming back for the 3, 2, 1, and the lack of dramatic finish. So stage 15, first loss for an XP40. And if you're wondering what HQ level that is HQ level 16. So we lost 0 troops, but due to ridiculousness and lack of power on our troops, we just couldn't get there. So this time we are going to drop all of our troops in the same spot. Wasted some GBE on those smokes, most definitely. We dropped a couple tanks on those far left-hand side, and as a result, our tanks were not super duper well combined, so we had to throw an extra smoke or 2. Kavon is probably going to stay back out of the smoke, unfortunately, but I think we should be able to get him underneath eventually. Come on, Kavon. Oh my goodness, that was way too close. I'm gonna throw a med kit out somewhere. We're gonna try to get some sort of pink zombie crew. I was really banking on my riflemen staying alive and doing all sorts of damage to the core, but I just don't do well with Kavon. So generally speaking, my Kavon skills are near 0. Don't copy me when it comes to Kavon. You will not be super duper happy with the outcomes. We are going, you know what, let's let that tank clear that sniper tower barely. I'm going to let that one tank kind of go do some roaming so we can get some free GBE out of it. Otherwise, the rest of our tanks pounding away at that core. Now, if you notice the shield amount, it was not super duper high. So it was about 50%. So without the rifles, I'm not sure if we'll be able to pull it off, but it looks like it is just nudging in the right direction. One other quick note, Kavon does not, generally speaking, heal himself, but if you watch that circle, as long as he's inside the circle of the building he's healing, he will heal himself. So a little bit of a Kavon hack of sorts there. We are just going to get all of our Kavon. He's about to die. That rocket launcher out here is about to kill our Kavon, so maybe we'll just throw a barrage onto it, hoping to get rid of it to keep Kavon alive so that maybe, just maybe, we're not going to lose a tank. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see just how much health those tanks could heal versus that side rocket launcher shooting them in the back of the head. So, not bad. Tanks, no problem at all over healing. Again, one more time, I'm going to pause a couple times. I tried to do like a little time-lapse thing with the last pause. Curious to see how it turned out. My guess is terribly, but I will do a better pause this time and just come back when that shield pops. We are about to pop that shield. I tapped something. I almost threw a flare somewhere as I picked up my phone off my desk, and it was almost a massive, massive mistake on my part. But it looks like we should be able to finish this off in the next 45 seconds or so. Now, if you're wondering, hey, would Grenadiers be able to finish this off? Probably not. And that's where you're going to have to save your GBE and throw your GBE onto those shields, or go get those shields first. If you're going to be using Grenadiers, do make sure you get the shields somehow, either by walking over there or by throwing your GBE on them. You're going to have to check how much health they have. I did not check whatsoever, so I can't tell you which one's going to be the right answer. We've got some drama happening, though. It is going to be super close, and we might just have our second failure. Now, I personally would have used Zukas to burn that shield with some heavies, but I figured I'd keep with the tank trend, and I think it has come back to cost me just like that. Remember when I said Kavan dying before our rifles got into that corner? Also lost one tank. Gross. We are going to switch it up. I am going to use my friendly neighborhood warriors. I said warriors were not the right answer for the Mega Crab. That is not entirely true. If we can have a simple, fun core melt, of course warriors are the right answer. Warriors are not the right answer simply because their range is so darn small, and apparently they don't double Life Leech. They only get their normal Life Leech. Warriors were the OG Life Leechers, by the way, in case you were unawares. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, hoping to get some form of warriors onto that core. Use Ice Shield with warriors. Don't use this because you will regret it. We're going to throw that Lego Shock out there, and of course I'm going to miss it. And then they're going to make the core go boom after I lose a bunch of them. These are the kind of silly things you get to do with instant training. Part of me recommends instant training. The other part of me says don't do it unless you're going to have it forever, because once you try it, there's no going back. Let's switch back to some Zukas. We're going to try some more skillful attacks, maybe. This is not super ideal. We're going to throw some heavies in there. Everspark with Heavy Zuka, generally speaking, not the right answer, but because of the Life Leech, everything is different. Like, everything is different with Life Leech. So we're going to give this a shot with the Critter Swarm, seeing if maybe we can keep some of our heavies alive using that awesome, awesome ability that is the Critter Swarm. I somehow missed the corner. I do this all the time with those silly, stinking cryo bombs. So we're going to drop all of our troops, something like this. That is the answer right there. Those critters getting out front, getting more critters out soonish. Gonna pop that back cryo bomb because we know we're gonna be into a world of pain when it comes to all of the cryo bombs. Critters doing great things, letting our heavies pop those critters bit by stinking bit. And now just slowly but surely letting Everspark get all sorts of critters out. That shock launcher is going to shoot over our heavies' heads, unfortunately, but I think we've managed to avoid most of the downfalls. Uh-oh, mortar. Zuka's dead. One shot. Zuka's just like that. Not super duper awesome. So as soon as you get into the slightly higher levels, you need to be super careful. It's ridiculous just how careful you have to be with your troops. Also, I did not want to pop that critter container quite yet, but that might help us out a little bit, perhaps, maybe? We're going to throw a shock right about there. We're also going to get all sorts of critters out because critters are going to keep our troops alive like we already talked about. And at this point, we've lost a couple boats of Zukas because of my ridiculously poor timing on the mortars. But look at this. Zukas and heavies clear through shields so well. So I think we should be able to burn the shield eventually once we get rid of all sorts of stuff around the core. I'm going to back flare into about here once that mine was gone. Otherwise, that mine was going to melt our troops as well. Everspark's critters going to keep our troops alive, keeping those heavies along as long as possible, even though it doesn't really matter. If all of our heavies die, I don't think anything's going to range our Zukas anyways, and look how much faster those Zukas burn the core. So, tip number one, clear the shore, do all sorts of damage at shore, and then get into a kill zone. Because that way, if you fail at the kill zone, you've at least cleared the shore, and you can walk up and get back to where you started at without a heck of a lot of difficulty. I see way too many people try to like smoke past all this stuff at shore, and then when you fail, you have to smoke past it all again. So clear the shore, get some free gunboat energy, lose a couple troops, and then get back into that kill zone and burn through that shield just like this. Zuka's so much faster at burning shields. I am getting sniped by lots and lots of sniper towers though, so little bit concerned for sure. Probably wanted to be a little bit lower than we're sitting right now, but I think we should be okay because those critters are going to keep our troops alive just long enough to finish this off. We've now got 9 Zukas left. All we need is one though. Let's move slightly farther south, just into about here, trying to get slightly away from those sniper towers. Sniper towers shoot like twice as fast as boom cannons, so if we can get away from the sniper towers, we should be okay. The critters should do a better job of distracting the boom cannons. And now we are going to have a super, super dramatic finish as we only have 4 Zukas left at this point. But we've had 4 Zukas for a while, so we should be in a safe little spree snipe spot here. So ridiculously close. Just razor thin margins of wins versus losses. We are now at 45 minutes. We have done a stage every 3 minutes or so. They tend to get longer and longer as the day goes by, and that is why when I said you can get stage 20 as a low level, it takes a ton of work. I still have 38 more attacks. You don't have to use them all. Just draw, I'm going to show you right now how you can do some more things. So we are going to start. I'm not going to use all 38 attacks. There is no chance I have that much time on a low-level account. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go start to do some silly things. What we're going to do right in here, I'm going to drop Everspark right about here. I'm going to push the hack button. I'm going to flare that rocket launcher right there. Then we're going to throw a smoke on Everspark and just hang out for a second or two. I'm going to throw one more hack out here. We are going to go get that rocket launcher right there. And we're just going to hang out for a second or two. At this point, we have done most of the damage that we need, so I am going to just hang out here for a sec, let Everspark get rid of that rocket launcher. Next up, we're going to throw some gunboat energy back there on that shock launcher. Just hanging out, not doing a heck of a lot here. At this point, should I retreat? Probably, but we're just going to drop one more artillery. Now, we can also drop one boat of Zukas over here because that flamethrower can't range our troops. We'll get a little bit extra gunboat energy, and then what we're going to do is just let those critters get us even more gunboat energy, and then I'm going to click the retreat button once. I am ready to retreat right now. We are not going to hopefully lose too many troops. What I want to do though is I want to get rid of all of this stuff back here so that on my next attack I can get all of those shields without using any troops whatsoever. We've lost 0 troops. Do this for like 4 times if you have to. Do this 5 times per stage if you have to. Wimp the stage up. Like just super weaken the stage before you drop your troops, unless you're going to use all 40 attacks. If you're going to use all 40 attacks, then good on you, but it's a lot of time to do that. So I'm going to throw an artillery right here. That's going to pop all of those cryo bombs eventually, and then all of our critters are going to come in here, and they are going to get, hopefully, all of those shields. Like, we don't have to do anything at this point except for get rid of that boom cannon right there. And look at this. All these critters are just pounding through all of those shields. Don't have to use any troops whatsoever. We are going to use our gunboat energy on a couple of these mortars up here, just getting rid of stuff. Super duper oversimplifying. And if you're saying to yourself, you're wasting attacks, yeah, I sure am, but there under no circumstances would I be using all my attacks anyway. So same thing, we're just going to press the hack button. We'll go get rid of this mortar. Everspark's probably going to pop out, not super duper concerned. One more hack, we'll go get rid of that mortar right there. Just clearing this entire left side, no problems whatsoever. That mortar's gone. We've also managed to get rid of a couple other buildings in the process. And look at this. We've got all sorts of critters working away on that core, and we have dropped a total of 0 troops using our GBE to shock the buildings. and Everspark dropping critters, getting some more damage on that cannon. And look at this, just about, not really, took down the base using no troops whatsoever. So we would have planned a little bit better. Maybe we could have done that, but at this point, this base should be absolutely and utterly neutered or spayed or whatever the heck you want to call it. So just like that, using no troops, if you don't have to have instant training to do well on Mega Crab, you just have to plan your hits a little bit differently than your operation attacks or your PvP attacks, kind of like you do Imitation Game. Perhaps, depending on how you do Imitation Game, just soften things up a little bit. You will not regret it whatsoever. It just makes your attacks so much easier. And our critters are going to be out front. We're going to shock those cannons because we don't want to lose any more troops than we have to. Just cruising through all of this stuff as Everspark's going to keep dropping all sorts of critters for us. So hopefully that was a bit of an eye-opener, because my kids do the Mega Crab every single Mega Crab, and they absolutely, absolutely love it. But my son, my youngest son, who plays the most, just refuses to plan his hits. He just drops his troops and runs in Leroy Jenkins all the way, and it's so frustrating for me to watch. So hopefully he finally gets the memo that you should maybe not do that, but that's kind of his style. So whatever works for you. If that seems too stupid for you, too boring for you, well, you're not alone in that as well. So stage 17 down in 3 very, very easy, straightforward hits. And look how much gold we got. That is the reason right there for just chipping away at the Mega Crab. Look at that, 600,000 gold. That is, like, I could basically upgrade anything on my base at this point, I think. Let's just check in the armory. We could upgrade absolutely anything in the armory. So, excuse me, I am not going to upgrade anything at this point, but that doesn't mean that you should not. This account I am keeping at HQ 16 just because why the heck not? I know that drives a ton of people absolutely, absolutely crazy, but that's my choice, man. I can't do low-level stuff if I don't have a low-level account. So let me know if you think this is low-level, mid-level, how you would define this. It all depends on what you think, obviously. We're going to throw a med kit right about there. I'm going to move Everspark away from those mines because I don't want her to die quite yet. Then we're going to flare back to that rocket launcher right there, and hopefully Everspark's going to do her thing. Just to be aware that she's going to live no matter what. Like, there's 4 flamethrowers around her. She's not going to die before she gets her hack out. Don't need to worry about that whatsoever. Watch this. Hack comes out, then she dies. The only time she dies, shock blaster or laser. I think I could have missed something. If I did, I'm sure someone will let me know in the comments. We're going to get rid of these 2 rocket launchers because they made the mistake of touching. This is a no touching physical distancing sort of place. Rocket launcher down, shock launcher down, 2 rocket launchers down. That is 4 massively high value targets. Just be aware when you are hacking things, make sure they've got something nearby that's going to be able to shoot them in the face, because it sucks to use a hack and then not have the building go down. So like this rocket launcher right here, it's going to be touch and go there because there's only 1 cannon nearby and a couple rocket launchers. So it might not be enough, but we're going to give it a shot anyways and just hope that that's going to be enough. It's going to be cool. It should go. And then we're going to flare over here and do this one next up. I am not going to throw a smoke there because hopefully that cannon targets that other... Yeah, see? That rocket launcher actually shielded Everspark. And now we're going to get rid of that other cannon. I mean, that other rocket launcher, I should say. Now we're going to come back to this one. And why I'm doing that is I just want to open up the shore. That way our troops... Having to smoke troops at shore makes things way, way more difficult, and I don't want to have to do that. So we have made fantastic progress at this point. Those 2 rocket launchers on the left are almost gone. Everspark is still somehow pounding away, hoping to get us a barrage. If she's super... Look at that, Everspark being a pal, getting us a barrage that hopefully will get rid of those other rocket launchers. 5 more rocket launchers gone. At this point, this base is just super, super ready for us to come in and crush it. I would probably recommend force closing there. That way Everspark keeps doing more damage for you, keeps healing herself. but that is a little bit too much time for my liking. We are down to our final 6 minutes. We need to get going. Now we're going to pop that cryo bomb. We're going to drop our Zukas first because we don't have any mines to clear. We're going to drop Everspark second, then we're going to drop our heavies as we start to get close to that rocket launcher and that mortar. That mortar's making me a little bit nervous. I will not lie to you whatsoever, but we should be okay. Some of our Zukas are going to start to turn left there, I think, and now we just need to keep that rocket launcher shocked enough to get a couple heavies out front. That, just murdered right in the face by that rocket launcher. You know what? I probably should have barraged that long ago, but I was hoping to get a little bit closer with my troops before having to do so. So what's going to happen is we are going to get all of these buildings down, then we're just going to get like 1,000 critters. There's like 1, 2, 3, 1,000 critters right in those critter containers, and then we're just going to cruise through absolutely everything. So I'm going to avoid... thinking I'm going to come back into here. And the reason for that is that way our critters can go get some things. Our Zukas will get into position, and then we're going to get a couple extra critters out here. Everspark only throwing 1 critter there. And the reason for that is because Everspark can only have 12 critters out at a time, and I'm guessing she already had 12. Now watch this. Here come our 1,000 critters right about now, just coming blasting into the face of Dr. T's defenses. Yes, Dr. T runs all of the Mega Crabs, except for at one point Hammerman did. I'm not sure entirely which one that was. Look at this though, cruising through everything. Troops, critters, no rocket launchers, no shock launchers left, except for that one that's way back there that we're not super duper concerned about. So let me know in the comments, will you be using this kind of strategy, or do you think, no, that is just 1,000% not for me? Obviously, to each their own. I personally love this strategy, and watch this, Everspark. Oh, you hacked the wrong building, Everspark. That was the wrong choice. Need that mortar hacked. And why we were trying to hack that mortar was I am just deadly afraid of mortars. As you likely saw, they one-shot all of our Zukas, and we really don't want things that can one-shot our Zukas. So flamethrowers, no big deal. Cannons, not awesome, but mortars just ruin like 50 Zukas with one blast. So that is why I try to avoid mortars at all costs, but we are going to fail right here. I did not loosen this up nearly enough, obviously, because we are about to lose all of our troops. But if we can get stage 18 down in 4, not a big deal whatsoever. Not concerned about it at all. So we're going to retreat right now, and why I'm retreating right now is that way this critter container is going to be there for next attack. So sometimes you need to retreat because those critters would just go running into flamethrowers and machine guns with nothing available for us to shock it. So leaving it there for the next attack just makes sense. So I'm going to finish this video off with, we can't not get that next trophy. So the next trophy is right there, stage 20. Now, do we have to beat stage 20 or get to stage 20? That is the question. We're going to find out very soon. Now, the next thing to be aware of is drop your Zukas first. They are way slower than heavies. Then we're going to drop our heavies and Everspark. Everspark and the heavies will catch up. So drop your Zukas first. It's an easy way to make it so that you don't have to worry about the differences in speeds. And then we're going to come right over into here, and that's going to give them a second or two to blast away at that critter container, and then all of our critters are going to get unleashed. Not exactly 1,000 like last time, but somewhere in the neighborhood. And then what we're going to do is we're going to plan our Lego shock right about there, shocking all of the things just like that. Critters coming out, heavies coming out, and just like this, we can burn through absolutely everything with a couple simple shocks. So stage 18 down, no problem whatsoever. We don't care if that shock launcher hits our troops because shock launchers can't kill our heavies, but like we talked about earlier on, the only time troops are doing any sort of healing is when they are doing damage. So shock launchers are a major problem with the Mega Crab. Do be aware. Hopefully this has shown you something new or interesting or entertained you. Are you not entertained? If someone can tell me what movie that's from, I'll give you a cookie in the comments. Otherwise, we're going to loosen this one up, and we're just going to walk through this one. This should be fairly straightforward. I'd like to do this in 2 if at all possible, but we need a little bit of Everspark's love and appreciation here. So I'm going to drop Everspark right about there. Then I'm going to push the hack button, and then I'm going to flare. Uh-oh, that that shock launcher right there is not going to go down, I don't think. There is not enough damage near it. So I am going to change my targeting as soon as we get somewhat close. I don't think anything is going to shoot it in the face. That's my number one concern. So I'm going to flare that rocket launcher back there. And then hopefully that's going to do a better job of loosening something up. I don't think anything would have killed that shock launcher. I'm happy to hear if I was wrong, but I think that was definitely required. So we're going to hack that rocket launcher back there. That's going to get rid of the rocket launcher, hopefully. Oh, Everspark. Remember when I said she's always going to get the hack out? Except for when she drops critters. I was wrong yet again. Everspark sometimes pauses to throw critters out there. When her health is low, she will die, and it will suck. So this is not shaping up to be a fantastic attack, but I think we can still do some goodness if we're a little bit careful. So hopefully our heavies clear all of those mines right about there. And now we're just going to walk through all of this stuff. Look at those heavies clearing the mines like absolute bosses. Just absolutely perfect. Now the concern is that that cryo bomb, very likely going to murder all of our troops. But we're going to find out right about now as we clear the mines using all of our troops. We were going to get 3 GBE for that cryo bomb, and it was going to give us an extra artillery, but it ended just like that. So double, triple failure on that point. Look at this. It's going to have 1 health. 1 health from the cryo bomb. We got to get rid of that shock launcher. Then I need to go hack. So we're going to try this one more time. We're going to try the exact same approach, but hopefully not suck this time. So dropping Everspark, clicking the hack button, clicking that rocket launcher right there, and then just waiting and cruising along right about like this. Everspark should be between critters right now. Should be. Oh no. As soon as that smoke clears, Everspark is going to get absolutely ridiculously slowed down if she's still in range. I think we've managed to get her the heck out of there. This is turning into a touch of dramatic finish. Not overly dramatic, but let's be honest. There's a little bit of drama here. And if you're wondering why Everspark stopped there, it's because her flare ran out. So this time, she had best hack that rocket launcher right there. And if she doesn't, I'm going to be a little bit sad. We're going to try to double hack this other shock launcher just like this, hoping some of those sniper towers do a number on that shock launcher there. And if so, we're going to have no shock launcher. We're going to have no, it's not. It's not going to go down because the cryo bomb, of course, ruined our day by exploding. And as a result, those sniper towers didn't do nearly enough damage. But we should be able to finish this. You know what? Let's try and finish this right now. I'm going to try our best to finish because I am so done at this point. We're going to get 2 shields as well, and then we're going to smoke over to here and hopefully have that shock launcher gone so we don't have to worry about it. Smoke, of course, is more expensive. I've got a huge sneeze coming. I'm going to try mute. Whew, managed to sneak that one barely. And now we are going to lose a whole bunch of Zookas to those mines right there unless we get a little bit. Nope. Did not get a little bit lucky. So now we just need to throw a shock right about here. We're going to get some of those shields, and then we're going to say sayonara to this attack because this is not going as well as I would have hoped. I think we can still get 19 in 3 attacks. I think this is our second, maybe. Would really like one more artillery, and it looks like we are going to get that from that shield generator. Barely, and then I'm going to throw one more artillery on that shock launcher, and we should be absolutely set up to finish this puppy off. So, shock launcher on death's door, all of our Zookas running away, because every Zooka you save is a Zooka that doesn't have to be reloaded. And then we're going to come back and finish this base off, I think, on our 3rd attack, but there's a chance it's our 4th, and I've totally gapped out. So let's have a quick peek to see how many attacks it was. Yep, third attack. 3 attacks for 19. That's not bad at all. Let's go. Again, Zukas walk slightly slower than heavies, getting our Zukas out, getting our heavies out. Heavies have farther to walk because they're dropped on the left-hand side. We're going to walk right to there. I'm going to get rid of that mine because otherwise my troops are somehow going to hit it. And then smoking right about there. Smoke for Zukas and heavies so much easier than for tanks because tanks are just so slow. And then cruising through all of this stuff. Don't have to be super quick with the smokes, just one at a time, getting all of your troops into position bit by stinking bit. Then we're going to come all the way back into here. I am intentionally going to be saving 7 gunboat energy for right about now. And then all of our troops should be in a fantastic spot to burn through all of... Uh-oh. This is going to be so close. Oh, man. Zukas trying their best to die. Everspark trying to keep our Zukas alive. Man, that was not a pretty attack at all. I definitely thought our Zukas were going to get there a little bit faster, and hopefully that was going to keep our Zukas alive a little bit better, but we lost a whole bunch of Zukas to that flamethrower simply by me not being super careful, or not even being a little bit careful. So Zuka's doing damage to all of the buildings nearby, burning through that core finally. Like we said, we got 2 of the shields here. There's 3 more back there, but Zuka's burns shields like nothing. Like just making it super duper easy. We've got 1 Zuka getting rid of that left-hand side sniper tower, which is fantastic. Gonna get some extra GBE there. And then I hope we get this next trophy, because I really don't have the energy. Talking for nearly an hour and 6 minutes is exhausting in the absolute ridiculously way too hot heat. Band name? Let's keep going. Stage 19 down. Please, Miss Gearhart, give us that next iron trophy. We have earned it, I think. Now, as a low-level player, as an XP40, could you get the gold trophy? Yeah, you could. It would take instant training for sure and a ton of planning and boosting all of your statues, but if you were super squeaky clean, you could pull it off. So if you're looking for a challenge, that is a challenge for you right there. Otherwise, we have gotten that iron trophy. I am going to call it a day, bid you adieu. Please consider throwing code ZMOD into your creator boost if this has been useful for you. The thing about Mega Crab videos of it is max level stuff, so hopefully this has helped you out. I had to cut a bit of the video out there, but otherwise, as always, thanks for coming in. I'm ZMOD. Peace.